You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are watching Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, Chris McFeely. We're all here this week. Welcome. It is Fanboy Versus the new Superior Spider-Man, as that will be the thing that we talk about at the end of this show, because it is a thing that came out this week. But it's like the last several issues of Spider-Man, like since 698, it's all been like stir. It's like stir the pot, you know. It's like just when you think you have figured out what Dan Slott is doing, like every issue has changed what you think he's doing. So it's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that. And then humming, and no, we got humming from Nicole. But anyway, yes, Chris McFeely, news. What of it?
Yeah, there's a couple things going on. So DC have started to announce new creative teams and things in some of their books. Nothing too major. We already knew Scott Snyder, for instance, was leaving Swamp Thing after the end of the Rot World story with issue 18.
God help me, he's leaving Swamp Thing.
That's okay, you're getting him on Superman, Man of Steel.
That's true, yeah, that's where he's going. I guess that's why he's got to leave Swamp Thing, so he's got time to write that. And the new incoming writer on that is Charles Soule, known better for creator-owned books 27 and Strange Attractions.
Yeah!
Yeah, not a creator I'm familiar with, but there you go. He's being joined by an artist named Kano, who fresh from Mortal Kombat, I assume.
I think if you send enough,
he rips your hearts out.
I think if you send enough emails in, though, you probably get Scott Snyder back on Swamp Thing, though, because apparently DC is a total bitch for that kind of stuff. So
yeah, probably not. I think people will probably be happy enough to have him on Superman.
Yeah. Like,
this is Scott Snyder saying, finished my 18-issue arc about Rot World. I'm done now. It's not somebody fired him by email.
It's been good, though. Like, Swamp Thing's been good. I'll hate to see him leave.
The other change announced was that Talon writer James Tynion IV. I love writers who have numbers in their names.
That's why if I ever start writing, I'm going to go by just Joel D. Church II. That's what.
Yeah, that'll get you headlines.
Yeah.
Well, James Tynion IV and artist Miko Suayan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, will be taking over Red Hood and the Outlaws with number 19.
Oh, boy.
Hey.
Yay.
Yeah, I can't wait to read that.
Man, so I'm not having that on the list. I can't even joke that I'm going to actually put that anywhere. No. Okay.
Why is that book still being published? That's one of the books I thought would be canceled. Like when we were talking about 52 books, we're going to make it. Red Hood was on my list.
Yeah. It's got the Bat Family connections, and of course it's tied in with major events and controversy sales too. So.
Yeah, and I heard they redesigned Starfire again.
I guess if this picture is a redesign, I mean, I can't say as I've spent an awful lot of time studying the costume.
No?
Looks like it could be different. I studied the parts where the costume is not.
The costume purple. If the costume is a different color, I'll notice.
It's still purple. Calm down.
As long as... Right, it's all about the parts where the costume is not, and as long as those parts are there, you get plenty of side boob and that kind of stuff, then.
Ain't no side boob. No, if you're coming looking for side boob, that area is totally cordoned off. There's a whole lot of other boob.
Right. Top boob, bottom boob.
Yeah, you got both
boob.
of those, but there's no side boob. So there's that. Another one of those WTF announcements out of DC this week is, well, I guess the miniseries must have sold. Masters of the Universe ongoing.
Oh, man.
Wait a minute. Can you say that again? I think I had something going on with my hearing.
Who bought that?
Masters of the Universe ongoing.
What? I bought 2 issues of that miniseries digitally by means, not physical. And you're telling me that this book's ongoing, physical?
And that's after, remember, that James Robinson wrote the first 2 issues and left the book, and Keith Giffen took over with number 3. Remember that?
That was a bad series. That was a bad series.
Well, Giffen is still writing it. Giffen writing the ongoing series with art by Pop Man, with a rather ghastly cover from Ed Benez as well. So, as you can imagine, there's a lot of Tila ass going on the cover.
So apparently those He-Man fans went out and rose and bought the shit out of that comic, is what I'm assuming.
Well, I mean, for all the joking we do, I imagine they did, because, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, but their franchise is in such a terrible state. They are the only people that support it. And they get thrown very few bones outside of the exclusive action figures that are made for them online. So whenever some media is thrown into a pool where there is absolutely no media, I guess it's kind of like throwing a steak into a pit of piranhas,
Yeah.
And we don't know. It could wind up that this new book could be the one that meets the eye of He-Man. You never know. You never know. You got to read it and find out.
Yeah. It could totally.
I'm being positive, for God's sake. Come on.
The cover shows a lot of Tila ass and boob, as I say. Man-at-Arms is on there, and He-Man is fighting
a female Hordak.
It's a Hordak with boobs. Yeah, that's. I think people have deduced this to be.
This is Hordak.
Hordakia.
It's probably not.
Is it the wife?
Herdak.
Herdakia. Yeah. Herdak.
That's it. That's Masters of the Universe level naming. Hell yeah. No, people seem to have sussed out that this is probably She-Ra or Adora before she gets her conditioning taken away and becomes She-Ra. Because in the cartoon she was taken away to Etheria and became the head of Hordak's guards and all of that. I'm going to call her Herdak from
Herdak.
She looked like a Hordak. She looked like.
I'm assuming she's wearing a mask.
Do us a favor, someone tweet that. We have claimed the name Herdak.
If he uses it, they have to pay us a pound. I'm not joking.
Herdak, you heard it here, folks.
So, that's another thing that's happening. Now then, not a lot in the way of new announcements or like that from Marvel, but they are at it again with the one-word Marvel Now teasers. Had 2 this week, but the first one we've had, and we don't know what these are, it's not been enough time, is a new series by Brian Wood and Olivier Coipel. Now that's a freaking good creative team. And the teaser is 2 X's. It's XX, double X. Within like a DNA strand. So, the popular running theory, given that Wood was just writing X-Men, the adjectiveless X-Men series, which has been cancelled now, that this is maybe an X-Women comic, double X chromosome.
Ah, that would make sense.
No, I mean,
women, that'd be great.
I would have to say with that creative team, I mean, I would say that's what they would call it. Yeah, X-Women, if they're going to call it. I would say that with that creative team, I'm a pinch tempted to check it out if that's what it is, and I wouldn't be a huge X-Men. Although it kind of annoys me that Marvel do seem to be utterly resistant to trimming down the bloated X-Men line full of books that serve no purpose.
Well,
seemed like they were finally, we've got all new X-Men. We've got that's like a new title on top of everything else right now. We've still got Uncanny's coming back, and we've got X-Men Legacy. That's not really an X-Men.
My God, how much longer are you going to wait till you say Wolverine in the X-Men? Because that should have been the first.
Wolverine should have been the second. Wolverine in the X-Men happened. Astonishing X-Men is the big elephant in the room at this stage as a book with no purpose.
Yeah.
And maybe they would get rid of that, but no, this just makes it look like this X-Women, if that's what it is replacing X-Men. And I'm like, just stop it. So I'm kind of annoyed about that. But at the same time, it's a really good creative team. And
I hate when they do that, when they do something that's like, they put a really good creative team on a book that shouldn't exist, and you're like, damn it! I wanted you to get rid of more shit, not add good things.
Well, that was my attitude. Yeah, because remember that was my attitude to Avengers. I said if you just do Jonathan Hickman's Avengers twice a month, get rid of New, get rid of Assemble, and then it was like, no. What instead we'll do is we'll put Hickman on New as well, and we'll make Assemble awesome by putting Kelly Sue DeConnick on it. I'm like, right then, okay, whatever. Shut up.
You will buy it.
Just take my money. Just take it.
Then the other one-word teaser is that is just completely no idea at all. Jason Aaron is writing, Simone Bianchi is drawing, and it's just birth. That's it. Now there's a full stop after it, or a period if you're American. I don't remember if any of the other one-word teasers have had those, and it's purple. That's
birth.
We got
okay.
The prevailing guess, and it is just a guess. Is that it maybe could be something to do with Thanos, because we know we were supposed to get a Thanos miniseries earlier this year that didn't happen because they just took it off the table because they were sort of waiting until the time was right for the character. So maybe the time is right now, but it's just that's because it's purple, basically.
Oh, it's purple, and birth is the opposite of death, and okay.
Yeah, and we were supposed to get it. It was supposed to be an origin of Thanos miniseries.
Yeah.
Or maybe, who knows?
Okay.
What else? There's been a few other things from. Okay. Well, we've a few other things from Marvel. Just a couple of creative changes as well, same as DC. Mike Hawthorne will be coming on as the artist for the second arc of Deadpool, which is titled I Scream, as Deadpool looks up and there's just a big ice cream man going to fall on him.
Okay.
Walt Simonson is joining the Indestructible Hulk as the artist.
Wow, that's kind of interesting.
That will be awesome. Phil Noto is joining the Thunderbolts, so the book will at least now look good. And Humberto Ramos is coming around for another whack at Spidey for the Superior Spider-Man, where we've got the teaser of Spidey and the word fired.
Oh, yeah. This is the... Oh. Yeah, all the arrows, I guess, are pointing towards Spider-Man being fired off the Avengers.
Which is a perfectly logical extension of the Superior Spider-Man plot, basically, based on what he gets up to in the first issue of this series, which we'll be talking about at the end of the show.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's what's going on there. I think that's all the creative things. And then I suppose, I guess, the biggest story this week, although there's not a world to say about it, is the fact that... earlier this week, the appeal in the Siegel Superman case has been overturned, and DC and Warner's have triumphed in that.
So they've triumphed again, then. So they
I mean the Siegels won in 2008, and that's been essentially void now with DC's victory at this appeal. So they only get millions of dollars in accordance with the 2001 agreement is already in place.
Sweet. Cool.
Yeah. I
mean, dear God, can this be over? One question, if I can't remember if we mentioned, did we mention that DeMatteis was going to be co-writing Phantom Stranger? That came out this week.
But that did happen, didn't it?
Yeah, I think we missed that over the break.
Is anybody still reading that book?
I don't know if anybody's reading it. I was wondering if anyone was going to...
I read the first issue.
Since they actually have a writer that's worth crap on that now, I didn't know if anyone was going to change their
he's
mind.
only co-writer.
Well, yeah. I'm hopeful that maybe... maybe DiDio's like, I don't really have time to write a book. Here you go. You write it, and I'll put my name on it.
Well, DeMatteis has a good history of books like that.
Mm-hmm.
So comics then.
Hunger for your plasma.
Comics.
All right then.
My gravity.
What did you say?
I said I can defy gravity.
Can you please sing the song?
What?
Can you sing the song from Wicked as Irish Morbius?
I don't know the song. That's just a line of Morbius from the cartoon.
But there's this.
I get it. I'm familiar with the existing. Otherwise, I'm sure I would accommodate.
That is a thing in my head now that will never leave. Oh. I'm defying gravity. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, Chris Triplet, go, please, God.
God, I can't save this. I can't save this. This man's gonna sink. I'm just gonna do just two quick hits on two books real quick. Wolverine and the X-Men continues to be awesome. I felt like it's been a while, so I needed to say that. 23 is Wolverine and the X-Men number 23 is the one comic. If you ever wanted to see Wolverine fight Frankenstein's monster, this is your
Wow.
because he does. And it's pretty good. It's a fun comic. I mean, it's just continues to be just a fun comic, and that's all it is. I mean, like the last 3 issues has been a storyline about an evil circus comes to town.
Is it the Circus of Crime?
No, it's not the Circus of Crime. It's a different evil circus. This is a
Somebody
magic.
better let the ringmaster know someone biting his style.
It's a magic evil circus in which the ringmaster is actually Frankenstein's monster. And through magic, the X-Men are captured and forced to be performers in the circus. I kid you not. Wolverine becomes a clown.
What?
Are you kidding me?
Is Mesmero involved in this?
No.
What?
Nope.
That's a pretty classic X-Men plot.
Was it?
Aside from the involvement of Frankenstein.
Yeah, I think it's an all-new evil circus. I know there's like a million evil circuses out there in the Marvel Universe.
Didn't I see this episode of X-Men, the animated, when like there was a big yellow guy? And...
Are you talking about Mojo?
Mojo, no. And there was some kind of broadcast or something.
Yeah, that's Mojo.
Was
yeah.
Mojo? Okay. Yeah.
That's Mojo's shtick. He captures you and puts you in television. No, but that was one of the classic Claremont Byrne era X-Men stories. Was when Mesmero captured the X-Men and hypnotized them and put them in a carnival for some reason.
Yeah, and this time it was just a witch. You know, we put a spell on them. They all magically turned into whatever they were. Like Kitty Pryde is like a cowgirl, you know.
Yeah.
It's just an act, you know.
Yeah.
Storm becomes like an escape artist. It's really funny because Storm becomes an escape artist because she has the fear of enclosed spaces. You know?
Wow.
I'm pretty sure The Simpsons taught me there were no Jewish cowboys.
Well,
wow.
You know, now there is. And yeah, it's just like I said, it's just a fun book, and Wolverine's fighting Frankenstein's monster. I mean, for God's sakes, what's not to like about that?
I was reading some classic Thing this morning, and the Thing fought Frankenstein's monster.
I think it should be like some sort of club. Like you have to fight Frankenstein's monster to actually be the man or something. And there's a reference to the Legion of Monsters. Legion of Monsters is referenced in that issue of Wolverine X-Men. So that's a nod to you guys. You guys read that book and enjoyed it.
Good.
Also, you know, Thor, since, you know, Thor is awesome, I want to quickly just talk about how it continues to be great. This is issue 4 of, I believe it's a 5-part story, the whole God Butcher story. And in this one, we get just a little bit more of Thor in the future. I think it's mostly old man, future Thor, and present day Thor this issue. And it's good stuff. I mean, it just continues to be, you know, just kind of this just dark story, you know, that just keeps flying out. Like Thor runs into another god that's like a survivor from the God Butcher, and he's in horrible situation. Like his mind is gone. You know, the God Butcher has pretty much driven him insane. There's like a reference, I think, where he had gotten his eyelids cut off so that he couldn't look away from all the horrible things the God Butcher was doing to the rest of his gods.
How mythological is that? Doesn't that sound like something out of it? Oh,
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, like this is like the Marvel Now book that everybody should really be reading. I mean, because honestly, I'm trying to think really hard. Like Jonathan Hickman's Avengers has been good. It's been really good. Oh, yeah. But the book that surprised me the most has been Thor. I mean, it's way better really than it should be. I mean, compared to what we've had, This is totally all left field. And when you think like Jason Aaron, when I think Jason Aaron, I think the wacky shit that's in Wolverine X-Men, and I don't think so much the real serious type stories that we can get that we can Thor, and it's awesome. And that ending.
Oh
Thor,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it, but
No, don't. No.
I'm just going to say, did modern day Thor show up where I think he shows up?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so
Okay,
I have a
that's-
question for you, because I haven't been reading the Thor. Is this on Earth or is this on Asgard?
It's on neither. That's the brilliant thing.
Oh, okay.
He's jumping around different worlds. Basically, he's hunting down this god butcher, and he's going to different places, and he's finding like the dead gods
Okay.
of like other alien races as he's trying to get closer and closer. I think he goes to Earth.
He does actually
Some-
visit Earth briefly. Yeah. I mean,
Because
what we've
he
got
has-
He's
is
going to
he goes.
other worlds besides the 9 realms.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, just alien planets, like not like other dimensions, just like other alien
Okay.
planets.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
when
And he
he goes to Earth, we've got this bit where like he finds this god who's gone crazy. Like he's saying, he finds him in the cave where we haven't seen the story unfold yet, but it's like where his younger self had his first encounter with the god butcher, and something happened there that changed the god butcher. So we don't know what's going on there. And we see old Thor in the future where it's like the god butcher won't kill old Thor. He's gonna leave him till the whole universe of gods is dead around him.
yeah. It's
We
really,
go to Kronok's Palace of Infinity where the gods of all time live. And then there's just like a great twist at the end that I did not see coming, given that the whole premise with 3 Thors is supposed to be ongoing. So I don't know, it's just great.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with that, but yeah, it's like the book everybody should be reading. It's so good, and I did not see it coming. It's great. That's all I can say about it.
Excellent. Just in time for Nicole to drop out for a second.
Well, you go,
It's-
GD.
Yeah, I can. I think I'll go ahead and go, and then we'll let her go because her so surprised. So, I'll be real quick. I would, for your enjoyment, I would like to recommend that you try to jump on to Earth 2. There's some neat stuff going on over there that I think is getting missed out on. It's Earth 2 it's a separate world, different events, different people. Some things seem familiar, some things aren't. And it's just kind of it's an interesting book from a DC perspective to see because there's a lot of things that are showing up that are familiar that we haven't seen in the DC universe, mainly because Crisis on Infinite Earths wiped a lot of this stuff out. So we're seeing things coming back that have been gone for a while. This issue is really one of the first issues of Earth 2 to not focus on what are being called the New Wonders, which is like the Flash and Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Atom, and some of the other players. But this book is turning into be. It's a little more political than the others. I mean, on Earth 2, if you know nothing about it, just real briefly, I mean, it's Earth 2 is basically the world where Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman all died fighting the forces of Darkseid. And they saved the world, but they all died in the process. And something so the first kind of book dealt with this whole an outside threat, but now we're kind of getting into the world at large. And what's happening, in particular, like with this issue, it's been hinted that some of Apocalypse Darkseid forces were left behind when Batman destroyed the boom tube and the worlds were closed off. And we kind of see here one of those people that was left behind, which is someone you may know, which is Steppenwolf. He was one of those that was left behind. And, this book involves double-crossing, double-crossing. It's political, and yet there's a great battle sequence that takes place in it. Fury is introduced in this. I won't say who Fury is, but
It's just not Nick Fury.
not Nick Fury.
Yeah.
DC.
Yeah,
Yeah, he just came to invite the Earth 2 guys to join the Avengers.
I'll just say that Fury wields a red whip with a noose at the end of it. So take that as you will. But yeah, I mean, there's some politics that are involved here. The good stuff is going on here. So this book is shaping up to be pretty interesting. There's a large world that's being built in this. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of interesting characters that have been gone really since Crisis on Infinite Earths that are being reintroduced in Earth 2. So if you're kind of into like the old DC lore, some of the things that used to happen, and don't want a book that's just based around everything that's going on New Earth for like the New 52, check it out. Check out Earth 2. Like I said, this is a great. I would think like I don't want to give it like that Game of Thrones moniker, but I think that you might, if you enjoy some of that. There's some elements in this you might enjoy as well. So
I'm glad that you're really liking it because like after the grunty stuff, it seems it's kind of slowed down. And I was like, man, when are they getting to the next thing? And I'm like, keep getting this.
I think we're getting there. I mean, we've seen this rise of I lost his name. The original Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
We've seen how there's a lot of power play and a lot of politics that's going on in this book. This is not if you like a book that's all kind of punchy, it's not that as much. There's a lot of politics and world building that's going on in this book. So
I think it's the tease that Red Tornado is coming that's kind of got me. Like,
yeah,
I gotta see Red Tornado.
Red Tornado was teased last issue or issue before. It's a female Red Tornado.
My uncle. I like the fact that Earth 2 seems to finally be swinging around. Well, I guess it's not shouldn't have really been unexpected, but I like that they're going now and exploring characters who actually are other. It's not just a book about doing the characters from the Justice Society, but on another planet. It's not just about Alan Scott, Jay Garrick. It's not just about the characters who can't exist on Earth 1, existing in Earth 2. I like the fact that they're getting characters like the character Fury in this one. Will not spoil the surprise there. Or, if there's a female Red Tornado coming, well, the Ma Hunkel was the original Red Tornado, like Long Jones and the saucepan on her head. So I guess they're going back and doing that as well. And they've got a Hawk Girl in Earth 2, haven't they?
Yes, so there's a Hawk Girl in Earth 2, but not a Hawk Man. And I mean, there's been, like I said, other things hinted at, like an early form of, or a different version of like a checkmate maybe being formed or something. So yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of little pieces that are going to move around. I mean, this is really, in a sense, they're doing in one book what most of the rest of New 52 is doing. Where New 52 has, if you think about the other books, they're all sort of building this tapestry of the world of, the new DC or New Earth, whereas Earth 2 is really doing it in one book with one book a month. So with a little bit of fill-in from World's Finest, but really not much. There's very rarely is World's Finest crossing back over and filling in, and even if it does, it's usually not consistent. So, like this week, I think we saw a little bit of Helena's being raised and trained by Batman and Catwoman. So, that's actually turned into, just to real briefly, that came out this week as well. That book I wouldn't say is as strong, but there is always, like I said, it's really interesting to have Helena back in the world where she was like the original, raised by a Batman and Catwoman, and that is her origin, and now she's in this world where those people exist, but they're not her parents, but they, So
and there are like 70 million guys who have been raised and trained by them.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that Damian is one of the only characters that knows.
And Damian. Well, because in a way they are. I mean, and they've made that discussion that unlike Dick Grayson or any of the other Robins or whatever, they truly are sort of siblings of different worlds. They are both children of Bruce Wayne, just of different worlds, and so they've sort of made a connection on that level, which is kind of interesting. I'm not as excited about World's Finest, so I'll mention that real quick. That book, it's a book searching.
With it because of Perez's art. I mean, that's really the real reason sticking with it. But
it's really a book that's
dude.
looking for a concept. It really doesn't know. It still hasn't quite figured out what it wants to be, and I think
it needs to move past where it's at now. Like it's still they're the same point they were at issue 1. There's not
no
like what's
progress.
the next thing, what are they moving to next?
I think it's really hard when Helena is the only character that's really gotten any good definition. Power Girl, unfortunately, is just a smart girl with tits.
I love that.
I mean, and
Sorry.
It's like, I mean, but that's like her character. All she is like, I'm super smart and I'm super sexy and I'm going to sleep with whoever I want to and I can buy whatever I want.
That's a new trait for Power Girl.
Yeah.
I like that trait. Can we have some more of that?
She goes by where that costume doesn't get blown off.
Oh, I know. The costume always gets ripped up, It's just...
Make it a prettier material or something, Come on.
So... but it's just like that character has very little development compared to Helena, where she's trying to sort of make her way as a crime fighter, living with this legacy of her dead parents who are alive in this world but not, and so I don't know. It's just like she's got more to lose. She's lost more, I think, in a way than Power Girl has, or that she even cares about.
I kind of feel like maybe they're going in the direction where it's really Huntress's book, and Power Girl is going to maybe be a villain, because I mean she is kind of doing some things I wouldn't consider to be good things.
But that's the whole thing, is like she's just awkward. I don't think she's doing anything.
She's trying to get them home. Like she's obsessed with getting them home, and I'm assuming that obsession's not going to be a good thing the way they're writing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a long and storied history with Power Girl or anything, but I'm unclear on what has essentially made her popular. Besides the obvious. Yeah, I know.
Besides the boob window.
The only stories I've ever read the only actual stories about Power Girl that I've ever actually, read, that actually try to dive into the nature of the character do tend to be ones that are about how she's lost a world or is confused about her origins or whatever, her run in JSA Classified, Infinite Crisis is a big part of that as well, and I really don't know what her dedicated series was about, apart from letting Amanda Connor draw Power Girl,
Right, which
I mean,
and that's
why
great.
I bought the book.
But,
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, and I think that this would have been the opportunity to really solidify that character, because now that character is not going to be dealing with, a muddy past, or, this would be the first time since Crisis on Infinite Earths that Power Girl doesn't have a completely screwed up history.
Yeah, but she's lost a world, so you've still got that.
Well, but so is Superman. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's one element, and you can deal with that. When you've got a character that's like lost a world and the history is all screwed up, it's like too many things to deal with.
But can she have some sexy adventures too?
Well, sure, and that's like all this character is doing, though. That's what I'm saying, and that's kind of the problem. Is like this character doesn't have any of the kind of sense of loss or weight of loss that Helena has. She doesn't have any of the sense of duty.
That's why it's moving towards a villainous role.
And that would be really interesting. Yeah, and that would.
I'm just. That's where they're going with it. It's probably better than where they're going with it. Right,
I know. It didn't. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, I don't want to drone on too long about it, but yeah, I mean, definitely, if you're looking for something that's just different, that's like not in the New 52, but still has some of those DC elements, check out Earth 2. And if you really want to confuse yourself, you can check out some parts of World's Finest, because it's got a little taste of it. So, all right, Nicole, we'll come back to you. I'm sorry, because
no, because my internet is crap, or it's my computer. I don't know.
Right, so that's okay.
I've been having problems today. Anyways, okay, I have 2 recommendations, just like the rest of you guys. I know you guys are going to be so one because Triplet read it. It's The Secret History of the Foot Clan. I don't know if it's a miniseries. I don't know if it's an ongoing series. There's conflicting news stories about it, but
it's to be continued. I know that much. It's to be continued.
Can I just say
that four-issue mini, I believe.
Has the Foot Clan ever fought like a rival clan of podiatrists? Like, would that... Is that something we get, like, ninja podiatrists? Like, that would be awesome.
Why you gotta read the issue?
There probably was a ninja podiatrist somewhere in the 80s cartoon.
Well, see, that's the reason why I need to read it, because there's a reason why they're called the Foot Clan.
Yeah. Because they're not the Hand, and they were based on the Hand from Daredevil? Oh, no. I'm sorry.
No, you gotta read it to understand. But this story's really good. It's more like a fable or a fairy tale kind of setting. It's kind of a story of Shredder's ancestors. And so, how the Foot Clan came to be. There's a witch involved. There's sucking of souls, pretty much, you know?
Wow.
It's just, it's good.
Demons.
Yeah, there's demons, and there's a really good last page, which I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, that last page is great. I turned the page, and when you see who she's been talking to, I was like, oh, God, this is actually awesome. It was good. It surprised me. I wouldn't expect it much, because Eastman didn't do this. This is a different creative team.
This is Mateus Santolucio. I think that's how you say the name. And Eric Burnham did help with it as well. And Mateus also did the art. So a lot of. I mean, the thing is, it's mostly set back in ancient history, which it's just really good. Like I said, if you like fables or fairy tales or just legends, because basically it's a college professor telling a legend to his class of the Foot Clan, the origins of it, where it came to be. And of course, April and Casey are in the class, and they're trying to figure it out. How come this guy knows so much about the Foot Clan? So it's really good. You just gotta go read it.
It feels almost essential too. Like you probably should be reading this if you're reading ongoing.
I know it's really good. Like I said, the turtle stuff is just amazing to me. So, my next recommendation might come to as a surprise, because I didn't tell you these guys what I was recommending this week. I'm talking about the Mars Attack Kiss crossover.
Oh my God!
This is fun stuff. Is JD there? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't.
He's just shocked.
What? I'm sorry. I was reading something. What happened? What I missed?
I was just like, I couldn't see you. I was just like, I don't know if I'm on. It's the Mars Attack Kiss crossover. Now, when you open up the first page, it seems like a sci-fi epic. You see this mysterious oracle that's out in the heavens, and she's bringing these magical gifts to the 4 chosen one. Okay, who are the chosen one? and they're called Kiss Power. And you're just like, okay, I can see it. So it looks like this is serious sci-fi until she gets whacked with the Martian spaceship, and they steal the Kiss powers.
God.
So you see these 4 aliens who just destroyed like this oracle, and they've become Kiss themselves. So they've interfered with history of how Kiss came to be.
Wow.
And so it's, oh my gosh, this comic was so much fun. It's just a one-shot.
Mars Attacks Kiss is what it's called?
Yeah, Mars Attacks Kiss. It's just a one-shot.
Wow.
Last week they did Mars Attacks Popeye. Again, so funny. Because Mars Attacks is one of those comics that just does not take itself seriously. And that's what makes it fun. So you're going to see how Kiss interacts with the Martians, how they get their ideas of why they wear makeup, why they wear their big boots.
They do look like they're from outer space. That makes sense.
And so you get the origins of Kiss mixed in because they started wearing makeup so they could disguise a 5th member, which is the Martian. There you go. That's just one little secret of this spotlight.
Wow.
And And of course, the Oracle's upset. And, oh my gosh, it is just ridiculous fun. But go read it. So, yeah, Kiss Martians, and of course, one of the Martians has a really long Gene Simmons tongue, and
Wow.
It writes itself. You knew that was in.
Yeah, and of course, you see what the different Kiss powers are. You got the power of the Star Child and power of the Demon.
God.
I'm not kidding. For $4, this was worth every page because of
they should have mixed Martian blood into the ink.
For the
colors
yeah.
or something.
That's what. If only they would have had some Martian blood.
What? They do have some Martian blood in here because usually Mars Attacks is a pretty bloody comic, anyways. It's pretty gory.
Yeah.
They actually go. Okay, they actually go on a mental plane fighting Martians versus Kiss. So they fight in another realm mentally. There's another thing, you guys. Come on.
Oh my
This is
God.
so much fun.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But just to see the Oracle get attacked or run down by an alien spaceship is awesome too. So, yes, for $4, go read it. It's worth every penny.
Wow. Okay.
And go ahead and pick up the one that was a crossover with Popeye because that was just as funny.
Jeez.
And next week is the Martian Attacks crossover with the Ghostbusters.
Well,
So,
that's going to be huge.
I'm going to love it because I read the Ghostbusters comic anyway. So.
Which one was this week's again?
I did the History of the Foot Clan and Mars Attacks Kiss crossover.
Yes, that's right. I couldn't remember which one it was this week of all these insane things that they're doing.
Oh,
frankly, I don't know how there can be another one after the Martians attacked Popeye, because damn Martians must have been fucked.
No, I am loving these crossovers. Oh, they're just a riot. Even Kiss.
Did you say Ghostbusters is next? Did you say Mars Attacks Ghostbusters is what they're doing next?
Yeah, Mars Attacks Ghostbusters is next week. The week after that is Transformers, and the week after that is Zombies versus Robots. And I'll be getting every single one of them because I love Mars Attacks.
Wow. All right.
It's
I'll
fun.
certainly read the Transformers one.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love loving it.
Excellent.
So,
All right, then, Chris McFeely, you're up, sir.
Yes. Okay, right. Let's see. I have a couple of bits and pieces. Give a quick nod to start off to Fantastic Four number 3, as the adventure is very much underway for the Fantastic Four right now. And I just thought it was some very odd and welcome symmetry that this week I have been reading John Byrne's Fantastic Four Omnibus, which is truly great classic Fantastic Four stuff. But it's not really that it's a product of its time, but just a way that John Byrne wrote a lot of his stories. Is that the very stories I happened to read the morning before I read this were a sequence of stories where the Fantastic Four went into the negative zone. And every issue would be they would go to an alien planet, they would get up to some confusing gyps, they would get away, and Reed would explain what everything meant on the last page, and that would be the story. Guess what happens this week?
Wow.
Yeah, and then in this month's issue of Fantastic Four, they go to an alien planet, some confusing gyps happen, things look bad, but they get away, and then Rita explains everything on the last page.
Wow.
I don't know if Fraction is deliberately channeling classic Fantastic Four, but he does a very good job with it, while at the same time bringing a really Hickman-esque high-concept space creature into the mix. I don't really want to blow what it is because it's a great visual and a really like a haunting idea, but it's just a really really clever, creepy sci-fi thing. But it's one of those sci-fi high concepts where you sort of nod and smile, and you yourself sort of essentially figure out what the deal is with the visual you're seeing before Reed gives you the explanation at the very end of the comic. You know. It's a simple done-in-one adventure. When did you last read a comic that involved that, you know? And now that the adventure is actually underway, I think that it's a look at maybe like beyond the actual interactions of the character, what we can expect from Fraction on the book, and I think it's good signs all around, even if it's not the biggest, most eventful story. It just so happened that I read something the morning before reading this that really put it in context, and I'm still really enjoying Fraction's fantastic book. I know we do it every time, but I don't think I can let Action Comics number 16 go past without reference.
Yeah,
you can't.
Because what?
Like I said in the pre-show, it goes full Morrison. To borrow some terminology from Tropic Thunder.
Now this is his last one, isn't it? Is this his?
No, there's one more after this.
Oh, there is. Okay.
We thought it was only 16, but there's one more. There's a supersized issue next month to end everything. And last issue, we just had Superman being simultaneously attacked in different timelines, and I misinterpreted a certain scene as meaning that he was starting to feel the effects of all the multiple timelines. They were collapsing in or colliding, and they were starting to occur simultaneously. Well, it turns out I was one issue ahead of myself, because that's what goes on in this issue. As the little man starts actually collapsing and colliding all the different timelines into one another. We're set across multiple different time periods here, but essentially the present day of this issue is at a time after the death of Superman, which is to say, the 1990s death of Superman storyline, not the 6 years ago that Action Comics normally occupies, which is of course also very vaguely fleshing out the actual existence of the death in the New 52 continuity. We had a reference to it actually in the very first issue of Swamp Thing, of all places, but this one confirms that it did happen, but it only deals with it in very vague terms. They say the day when Superman died was called Doomsday. They don't refer to the monster. They don't say who the villain was. They talk about how there were red skies when it happened, which there weren't, but I think we all know what red skies mean. And so in the course of this story, which takes place 3 years after the death of Superman, the little man is collapsing timelines together. And we see things like Krypto gets out of the Phantom Zone at some stage,
Yay, Krypto!
Yeah, but this is a very, very fierce Krypto in this one. We see the whole thing from the Super Doom issue coming back, and everything from Morrison's run truly is colliding for this finale. From the one-shot Super Doom issue to the appearance of the Legion of Superheroes back in issues 4 and 5 and 6. That's all coming together. And the fact that the Legion's future is I don't know the Legion very well, but I don't think this depiction of the future that the Legion live in is new to me. And the backup strip by Shirley Fish is another good. He's always done very good backups. I'm still surprised he's not taking over the comic, but this is the backup gives us context and shows us how that happened. This issue is playing in a lot of different times, and a lot of things are coinciding. But if you've kept up and paid good attention up until now, this is really the definition of there will be a quiz at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is you being challenged.
I felt pretty good at the last issue. I'm like, all right, I'm cool, I'm getting this, and then this issue happened. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
I love when Vindictivix appears before all the people of Earth, and he gives them his ultimatum, and throughout it all, he's just wearing Mix's shattered hat that's burning from when he attacked all the multiverses through it.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is where I thought last issue was the typical Morrison issue that is confusing. I didn't find it confusing, but I heard a lot of people think that it was confusing, and I thought, I don't know how you can think it's confusing if you've paid attention up until now. No. This
one. Yeah.
This is the Rubik's Cube of the Action Comics run. This is, you can't figure out how to move it. What?
Yeah.
It gives you just enough, essentially, for you to nod your head and go, yeah, okay, even though it probably doesn't make any sense, really.
Yeah.
But I think the most interesting takeaway from it all is the fact that this issue brings us red skies and the death of Superman. Essentially, broadly speaking, taking us up from the Silver Age that a lot of the stories thus far have lived in through to the 80s and 90s, which, after looking like it had fallen back as the story had moved along really does return to and validate my original theory that I had around the end of the first arc point, that Morrison's 17 issues of Action Comics are going to serve as the complete bluffer's guide to Superman history.
Mm-hmm.
All of the great themes and eras and iterations of Superman. I don't know what the last issue could bring to encapsulate the post-death through to the modern era, short of him going electric blue for a couple pages.
Oh man, that would be awesome though.
Kinda would, but I'll be very interested to see. Looking forward to finding out, and at the same time really not looking forward to it at all, because it means I'm dropping the book after that. Sorry, Andy Diggle, but...
Nah.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be awesome if he went electric blue and red for a second, and we had blue and red electric. Yes!
But surprisingly, my laugh of the month, or laugh of the week rather, has got to go to Dial H number 8 from this week, which is not a book without a sense of humor, you know.
No.
But this issue, a lot of it's told from the perspective of the Centipede, who is this mysterious character we met last issue, who we get a little explanation on, and it turns out he's working for the Canadian government and trying to track down Roxy and Nels, who are traveling around the world trying to pick up the trail of the dialers and all the rest of it. Now they've found their way to Canada this issue, coincidentally enough, and the Centipede tracks them down, and of course we get another wonderful imaginative character in Flame War.
God, yes. Especially when he uses his power.
That's still not my favorite.
No, I mean
No.
Character.
But when the combination of Flame War and then the foul-mouthed 5, which we don't even get the full set of.
We get the, but it's good again because we get the memories of Flame War from his own world and his own team that he's been part of, you know. But his power is like that if he insults something, it bursts into flame, you know.
And
you call those guns? Your guns are stupid and ugly and fat. I hope they get cancer. It's like overblown. That squad car's a slut and a Nazi.
Goes straight to Godwin's Law here. Like, I think invokes Nazis as well and something else. So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
And it's great when he has to hold off, but he almost falls into using his power. And he goes, "Call that a helicopter?" No, you got to get out of there.
Yeah.
But the Centipede is truly the centerpiece of this issue. We got a little look at his power last issue, where he seemed to be able to like just create an unending line of duplicates of himself. But we get a little flesh out of it in this. Canada is actually at the forefront of time travel technology, it turns out.
Well, sort of.
His power it's another one of those nod your head, I get the basics of it, probably doesn't make sense type things, where he's actually able to unstick time, go back inside himself, and choose the outcome of his next action, and then have them all like occur simultaneously. So if he loses his keys, for instance, he can travel back and get all of his possible future selves, who would go on to check all the different places, to simultaneously check all those places that I would check. So it looks like a human centipede of people spreading out all at once simultaneously as you look at it. Yeah, but no, it's another one of those really great high concepts, and it's not even a dial creature, you know, that's the great thing. But
yeah, I think you saying human centipede just turned me off from this.
It's not like that.
Not like that, yeah. But it gets the laugh of the week for its depiction of Canada.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're not quite into craft dinner looking for treasure flappy head Canada here, but you know, they don't even go around with crazy Canadian accents or anything, you know, when the Centipede is in the process of killing a man at the start of the issue who sinisterly remarks that he hasn't heard him once sniggering about his accent, you know, he deliberately says them like that. They put him in quote marks and everything. I think the moment that absolutely slayed me was when Nelson, as Flame War, is running throughout the city, flaming trail behind him, drops down in front of the like Canadian SWAT team, and they go, "Put your hands in the air, please!"
That was the best.
And then when the centipede is reporting in a failure towards the end of the issue, he goes, "Oh, I'm sure gonna catch heck when I get back. Okay, bye." Yeah.
This is one thing that DC is doing right.
Ain't that the truth? It's nice whenever Dial Hitch can surprise me with something as funny as that, and it leaves off on a great cliffhanger as well. That I'm interested. I mean that the centipede he knows more than we thought he did. So as ever, always looking forward to the next issue of Dial Hitch, but it definitely took the spot for this week purely for that alone. I'm looking for treasure. Over to you, JD.
I like trash talk too. Anyway,
I didn't get the other one though. What was the other guy's name? I didn't
Wolf
get
Ticket.
that one. What's that? I don't get that.
Fall Boy. Was it Fall Boy? Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the autumn one. No, I'm talking about the
other little
Foul-Mouth
guys
Five.
who Flame War remembers. He remembers Trash Talk, who's like a little talking trash can. And I don't know what Wolf Ticket is. I don't get that.
Let's try Google.
Together they are the insult.
Yeah, I could have tried Google, but I didn't bother.
Wolf Ticket is... it is an African American slang term that means verbal threat or criticism or insult.
Okay, well there you go. Then you see how it fits in there.
There you go.
Thank you, Google.
Neat.
Yay, Google's
You can
awesome.
find out stuff on the internet.
And it's got to be true because I read it on Wikipedia.
Oh boy.
Have you seen that commercial? They can't put anything on the internet that's not true.
That's right. Absolutely. Speaking of things that aren't true, no.
Kind of.
So, all right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show, in which we'll talk about Superior Spider-Man. The thing that we've known that was coming, that is now an actual thing, that we will now read about. I'm going to run through the highlights on this, I guess.
Yeah.
I always let Chris McFeely do it, but I'll do it on this one. Cause,
Yeah, I got it.
in this, we see, and like I said, I'm just going to hit high points and we'll go back over some things. But, so mainly this involves the new Sinister Six, which some of these people don't even know who they are. So Living Brain, Shocker,
Overdrive, is that his name?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, Overdrive. Who else is on this team here?
Your Shocker, Speed
Boomerang.
Demon, Beetle, Boomerang.
And the Living Brain.
And the Living Brain. It's an important one there. So,
Oh, hell yeah, that's important. That's the most important one. That's from the Lee and Ditko Spider-Man.
yeah. So anyway, Superior, our new Superior, Doc Ock Spider-Man, gets involved. And he starts fighting with them. And they start smacking him around. The speedster of this group starts punching him in the face. And so, like a heroic Superior Spider-Man, he runs away.
Yeah, he proclaims, "I'm done here."
Which is great, because he's like, this is stupid. I'm leaving. How did Parker put up with getting punched like this all the time? So he goes to leave, but gets, like, cut off. So he sort of inadvertently stays and saves a dude's life. Scratches Boomerang, I guess, or whoever this was, with his claws.
Yeah, that's Boomerang.
Yeah, and yeah, and then they're like, okay, cool, Spidey, thanks, buddy, we got it. And because the Sinister Six, they bitch out, but they leave behind the Living Brain.
The Living Brain!
So Ock has it dragged back to Horizon.
Oh, what's
and,
that line it says? I know it's like whenever he gets the Shocker to accidentally shoot it in the back, it goes, "Query, why was this unit programmed with pain receptors?"
Why? Loved it.
Why was I programmed to feel pain?
And I love
Father, give me legs.
I love that Doc Ock doesn't have the good sense to like try to change his speech patterns at all.
I love that.
The first thing is like some of the other, Watu and one of the other girls from the lab is like checking out Living Brain. He's like, "Dolts, careful with that. But it's Peter, so it's, you know. Anyway, it's just... it's
Even
awesome.
the way he stands.
Oh, I know. Just the posture and everything is beautiful. So, anyway, so, you know, there's a conversation with Modell where Max is not too excited about some of the weapons, but whatever it is that Ock, you know, shows him, he's more excited about that. So, you know, re-solidifies his position at Horizon, and then gets ready for his date with Mary Jane, which is awesome because some of this is like Mary Jane's talking, and his thought bubbles are sort of over what she's saying, so it just makes that point clear that he's not really paying attention to her.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. This line, the view. But what's great is she notices that he's not listening. He's like, oh no, I'm actually listening in on the new Sinister Six. Because his claws, of course, they have a purpose. They injected nano listening and tracking devices. Beautiful. Like, this is the stuff I love, because it's like, this is the kind of stuff that Doc Ock would think of that Peter would never have thought of. Peter wouldn't have thought of putting, you know, claws on his suit, but Doc Ock thinks of that, and on top of that, thinks of putting, you know, tracking nanos in it, so anybody that he scratches, he can track. Brilliant. So he basically heads off the Sinister Six a second time and creates traps for all of them. Like, I don't know, frictionless surface.
As you do.
Just like you do. Some kind of webbing or whatever that he put in. Power dampeners, which basically, you know, take the gyros off of, you know, cause the gyros in the wheel not to work. You know, disable the Shocker's gauntlets. Just basically sort of takes him out, and then calls the press and the police ahead of time so that he can get coverage.
He figures out what they're doing because he's a supervillain. I never thought of the stories going in this direction. He comes up with all of this stuff because he thinks like they do.
Yeah, and it's great. Like,
well, what is it that they say here? Is like, They've stolen the thing they were stealing from me, and it's like, impossible! We were in and under 10 seconds! How did you web up a street-wide blockade? Did it in 9. Boom! Spidey out!
He is a superior Spider-Man, it appears.
Yeah. So here's the bit that I'll go ahead and get and mention that this is
spoilers for the
this is going to be spoilery. So if you've not gotten to this part yet, so Ock is basically getting into a fight with Boomerang again, and well, he's basically going to kill Boomerang.
He's beating him to death.
Yeah,
blood is flying everywhere.
Yeah, he's beating him to death. He's going to kill him, and something stops him, and it's Peter. And Ock can't see him or hear him, but it's like,
see him because he's not there, you know.
Right, he's not really there, but I mean, it's like, but he was able to stay Doc's hand, and of course the police, you know, go in and pick the guy up, and even Ock is confused because, you know, he was going to kill that guy, and he doesn't know why he stopped. But
of course, the implication is that this is why Ock has been doing these things that seem to be reflexive, diving to save the police officer earlier in the issue, back in Avenging Spider-Man when he stops that robber who's just running past him. The things he's doing on instinct are actually Peter creeping through.
Yeah. So yeah.
Peter doesn't know why he's still there.
Yeah.
But are we surprised? Well, we are kind of.
Yeah.
That coming, honestly. I was like,
I didn't see that coming. I kind of got spoiled for this because I saw part of a Dan Slott interview, in which he kind of talked about it being sort of like a Jiminy Cricket element, in it. I don't know what you all think, but I'll go ahead and lay out mine because I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, I've been on board for this, you know, 698, 699, 700, and from on this issue all the way up to like that point, I was full on board, and now I'm kind of like, man, because what I really wanted, and it doesn't mean I don't like it, doesn't mean I'm not going to stay on board, but it's like, I really wanted to see this story where Doc Ock was really embracing this idea of responsibility and trying to, on his own, be different or be someone else. And this idea that Peter is still hanging around and is basically going to force him to do those things, it's not the story I had envisioned, and it's going to take me time to adjust. I mean, what do you all think?
Well, I don't know if he's necessarily, driving. It's like he probably isn't the thing that made him go after the Sinister Six. He's just the guy that stops him from going too far.
But that's what I mean. It's like I wanted Doc Ock to do that. I wanted that to come from himself, not from an actual ghostly Peter. I wanted it to be
and they'd actually
metaphorical.
Established it like that in 700 that we kind of thought that was where they were going with it. Those last couple of pages,
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I don't want that or that I wouldn't have been on board for it, but honestly, as much as I would have been interested in reading that, I was quietly having trouble believing that was a premise they would sell a Spider-Man comic under. I find it hard to believe that they were going to there would be no Peter Parker anywhere at all, and we would have a villain masquerading as Spider-Man. I'm not going to lie, I got to this last page. I legitimately dropped the comic and jumped out of my seat and did a little dance. I actually did.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, Nicole, what do you think for...
I thought it was a good story. The only problem I have is Peter is acting really weird. How come no one is noticing this?
That's a very good point.
Because,
yeah.
When he's at Horizon, he is sitting straight up. He is being so and then he's got that look when he's with Mary Jane, like, yeah, I'm the shiznick. It's just like...
Yeah, people are noticing, though. Yeah, people are noticing. It's just they're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
so
they make comments.
Mary Jane really should be on top of this.
Yeah.
Exactly. She knows Peter better than anyone. She should know when the slightest thing is off.
Yeah, she makes the comment, on top of everything you're drinking, that's never good. And I was like, yeah, when does he drink?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Because I haven't read a whole lot of, it's like I said, it's only been the last couple of years I've read Spider-Man. Was he a drinker ever, or?
I don't think so.
I don't know that it was even touched on to say.
Yeah,
I think it was sort of assumed no, but,
Oh, I remember they did some stuff in Brand New Day, didn't they, where, I think they might have established he doesn't drink at all, and then he did drink and get drunk, and he banged his roommate or something. But then the whole internet went, that's not good at all. And then, oh no, wait, that was the Chameleon.
No, the Chameleon's the one that slept with his roommate.
Chameleon did the bang itch, yeah, that's right.
But the whole thing with Peter at the end, I kind of like the element, but as long as he's not there constantly, like, he might be there a few times just so Doc Ock could kind of get the feeling of what he's supposed to do. But I wouldn't like to see him hanging around constantly in every issue, but to see him pop every once in a while, I kind of like that element. That's just me.
I kind of like the last page just because I had no clue how he was gonna stop.
Yeah.
The way it ends, it's like I don't know how I'm back and I'm still in the fight. I like that part. Like, we don't have to see Peter anymore for like the next couple of issues, but that last page makes me think, oh, there's a way. He's still out there and he's still gonna come back somehow. And it's kind of good, like, to kind of like tease like where it's going, but not necessarily set what the next issue is going to be. He may not even end the next issue. It's just that now we know maybe why Docc's not going. He's not White.
And that's why I say it's like I totally want to see how it's going to play out. I'm not going to be I'm not doing the whole F this and throw the book out the window. I
have to admit, I think my little dance was 50%. Oh, I didn't see that coming. That's awesome. Yeah, and 50%. Shut the fuck up, internet. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. It is always nice when you can make the internet go.
Of course, that's the trigger for the other half of the internet to start bitching about the fact that he's alive.
Yeah.
So there's no winning.
Like
No.
I said, that's why I kind of like my schedule where I'm never at home.
Yeah, you don't get to deal with
all the
that.
time because I get to miss out on this stuff and just enjoy the story. So.
I like this, kind of going back, like one of the things that's in this book, where one of the things that Doc Ock is dealing with, so much of our identity is really tied to who we are, and our name and that sort of recognition. And, part of the deal that Ock has made is that he has to be Peter Parker. He has to accept that, and so, there's the talk of all of these things, all of these great inventions that Doc Ock is coming up with are going to be attributed to Peter Parker or Spider-Man, and it's like he's kind of having to deal with like, no, I am now Peter Parker. I get to accept those awards under that name.
Yeah, it's like he's not getting the recognition, and it almost seems like that's his chink in his armor. That's going to be his downfall.
Yeah.
I can't be the one that takes the credit for this. It's always going to be him. It's always going to be him.
Yeah, and I could see that maybe by the end of this, like I said, a year or 2 years or whatever, maybe Doc Ock's going to want out. Clone a new body for himself or something. Because I think it's got to be eating at him that he's going to be, and it will be eating at him that he is going to be this, that he's going to be Peter. I don't know how long that his ego is going to take that. But this,
I mean, I love the fact that the first story is about him fighting the Sinister Six. One of the great brainchild legacies of Dr. Octopus, the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I can't exactly describe what his motivational, like he's not a superhero, because it's not just that he's motivated by ego, it's almost a desire to just eradicate all failures, but the only one who'll ever know is him.
Yeah.
He's really, not to pun it or anything, but he's kind of trapped inside his own head as far as the vision of what he's going to do with this new role can be.
Yeah, exactly. I think and I think just like anything else, one of the things I talked to Brian about, like last week or week before, was that if nothing else, there's a lot of good story to be told here. I mean, there's so much potential for really interesting stories to come out of this, and maybe this Peter element adds a new, spin for that, or adds a new, dimension for that.
It may not even be going in the direction you think it's going. That's what's so great about this book. You're like, oh wow, there's the light at the end of the tunnel. That's how Peter's going to come back in, and oh wait, maybe it's not.
Right.
Maybe something else is going to come out of this.
There's something vaguely, it strikes a similar chord as Journey into Mystery did, where Journey into Mystery's resolution was the acceptance on the part of the writer and the character that change is not permanent in their medium, and that things, great sweeping changes, will never be allowed to stick, and you just have to do what you can with them while you can. And it's similar to that, where it's both, where it is the book saying, look, we know, so here's the thing, now go with us. Just go with the ride, and you'll see how it all unfolds.
Just hang on.
There is no pretense at the start here.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I don't know, you get some people going, oh, they obviously have no faith in the concept, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you read comics.
Yeah.
You understand how comics work. And because we live in an age now when it comes to comics and everything, and we've seen this happening with death in comics. In things like the Human Torch, or like Batman, or like Captain America, to rattle off a couple of deaths from recent memory, where the death is part of a pre-scripted, where the death is part of an overarching story that a writer is telling. It's not about some writer kills a character, then a little later, a few years later, another writer brings them back because they want to use them. Deaths in comics now are part of bigger stories that one writer is telling in a long-form story, because the readership and the writers understand that how that is perceived has changed now. And it's the same here. Like, nobody at all, but it's like, it's one thing whenever you kill Nightcrawler or something who's still not alive again
Yeah.
yet, you know, because that's a B to C list character at best that you technically could have. You're never going to kill the Human Torch, Batman, Captain America. You're never going to kill Spider-Man. They don't pretend that that's a possibility. The journey is, the story is how he comes back. You know?
Yeah.
The death is just the beginning.
Yeah. Like Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle, like,
Still there.
you know.
You could safely kill Blue Beetle in it. It pisses off
Yeah.
some folk that the universe does not have a yawning Blue Beetle-shaped hole in it that everybody's going, where's Blue Beetle? I can't believe they're not.
Well, they
It
keep
really
trying to
fix
shove
someone
that
out there,
new
though.
Blue Beetle
I'm pretty
into
sure
it.
It'll fix someone.
They keep trying to shove that new Blue Beetle into it, but it's still
he
not,
don't fit so good.
still not working, so...
And I just really do love the idea. I don't think I've ever really seen him. It's not like the first time a supervillain's ever tried to go good or anything, but I don't ever remember reading a story where a supervillain actively used their knowledge of supervillainy and mad science to head off villains because they knew what they were going to do. Like, whenever he beats them at Horizon, it's like, you know, Boomerang wants to know how he did it, and it's like a barometric oscillator and an atmospheric condenser. The first two pieces of a weather machine. What were you going to do? Blackmail the city with a tornado? Shut up! It was a good plan.
Love it.
It's like he recognized that somebody was building a weather machine. I love it.
The thing that I'm enjoying about this is to see Doc Ock enjoying being young again.
Yeah.
I love all the
being
little
young and
parts
virile,
are just
yeah.
like, oh my god. Can you imagine being 30, 40 years younger all of a sudden? Like,
He's
But
thinner,
I think we
stronger,
can
and
at
less
least-
fatter than he's ever been.
Yeah. I think we can at least safely rule out any potential creepitude between him and Mary Jane at this point, though, now that Peter is still on board. I don't think we have to worry about that happening. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I would think so.
I just realized it's really, really creepy to see Peter Parker laugh. You don't see that very often. He's
Yeah.
usually like, oh god, something bad, and then his mouth, he's like, ha ha ha, I'm drinking, why not? You know, with a glasses.
I saw someone, the image with him with the listener on and his head tilted and with his hand to his head. Someone has that as an avatar on Twitter already, which I thought is brilliant.
It's very avatarable.
So
I
do we
think
want
it's
to talk
a
about
testament
Stegman
really
on this
to-
real quick? I mean, as far as like the art goes.
Oh yeah, I was literally just about to. I was going to say it's a real, you know, triumph artistically that he is able to pull off Peter here specifically in a way that we as an audience can look at him and tell that something's wrong just from body language.
Yeah.
You know, and not a lot of artists would be able to do that quite as effectively. And perhaps it's because it's the broader strokes of artwork that we've seen in Spider-Man since Big Time, where we've got Ramos doing the cartoonish style that does exaggerate everything, so that, you know, the smallest thing is kind of blown up in such a way because of that cartoonish style that Ramos Stegman rather is not. He's not that far up the spectrum, you know, but he's closer to that maybe than to a house style, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So he's able to do these broad, slightly cartoonish, straight back, chest out, and lips stuck up poses without them looking ridiculous because of like the world around him and the artistic precedent that the Spidey books have going for them at the minute, you know.
Yeah, it's really brilliant. I am definitely digging the art on it. So.
Oh, and I love that the title is Hero or Menace.
Yes.
That's
Brilliant. Brilliant. So.
Never forget the living brain.
And then the living brain.
Yeah.
The pain receptors part is great.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So there you go. Superior
Altogether,
Spider-Man.
very successful first issue.
No, I do like it.
Where are we surprised,
No,
honestly?
no.
This is one of those situations where, you know, you finish issue 700 and you're like, okay, so they're telling me Peter Parker's dead. I don't for a second believe he actually is, but you know what? After X number of years, I think Dan Slott's earned enough of my faith for me to pick up the first issue of this without compunction and assume he's got it all worked out. Oh, what a surprise. He totally does. What's that?
Yeah.
It's like, if you know Dan Slott, you should know well in advance that he has got this sorted.
Yeah.
And hey, what do you know? Turns out he totally does.
So thumbs up there. Like I said, it's all going to come down to how much of a role Ghostly Peter plays for me. But Hopefully it'll be small like that, just to stop the big things, stop the bad things, and not be there all the time puppeting him around. So
Dueling narration boxes. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised, if the next issue could be entirely from Ghost Peter's perspective.
Yeah, that could totally happen.
Actually, yeah.
That we
Oh,
could
that'd
have
be kind of cool.
we could have alternating issues,
Yeah.
or a couple of issues on one and a couple of issues on another, as we see just how two minds in one body works out.
Yeah, what is it? Slot compared him to Jiminy Cricket or Al from
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap. Yeah.
That's kind of awesome. Scott Bakula is the Quantum Spider-Man.
Brian
Spider.
was trying to tease me on this issue before I read it, because he read it first, and he says, when you get to the end of the issue, think Peter David. And I was like, what in the hell is he talking about? And I got to it, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's Captain Marvel. He's Rick Jones.
Yeah, there's that, too.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Well, there you go. That is our show. Any big hits coming out next week? Anything?
No, I have quite a small week next week. I feel like it's time for another issue of Avengers, but it's not yet. The second issue of New Avengers.
Now, when
is
does
out.
isn't Young Avengers coming out?
Not next week,
soon?
no, but before the end of the month. Yeah, Young Avengers is before the end of the month. So,
Cool.
are we all getting the? Tell me.
I
we're all
think
getting
so.
it.
I think I'll pick it up just to check it out.
Wait.
So.
Does it have little Loki involved? Of course, I'm
Yes.
getting it.
I mean, it's not your little Loki, but it is a
No,
little
probably
Loki.
No, it is my little Loki.
No, it's
I
not.
don't know.
No, it's not.
No.
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 So, all right.
Well, I mean, I
Well,
guess the big number one coming out next week is Savage Wolverine. Not that I'm going to buy it. But
No.
Who's writing Wolverine again? Who's doing that?
Frank Cho is doing the art and the writing.
Okay, pass.
If you're ready for some busty cave woman, I hope you're ready for Savage Wolverine.
Woo!
Come on, next
All right.
Mars Attacks versus Ghostbusters.
Okay.
What more you need?
There you go. So, cool.
Kind of booberific show this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk of breasts this week.
Even Doc Ock got in on the act.
Yeah, even he saw some boobage. So it's very excellent. So, all right. So go to the website fanboyversus.com. Check us out live each Sunday. tfradio.net/live. That's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. GMT. You can also follow us on Twitter at FanboyVS. That's always fun to do, and we have our Twitters as well. So you should follow that and hear us talk about comics.
Come on,
and
we had a
other
really
things.
good quote come out of JD today, and I tweeted it.
So I did see that. Thank you so much. Now I look like an awful... now I look like a stereotypical comic book fan, which, whatever.
There are a lot of things said on this show that if you took them out of context, they would make us look very bad.
This is totally
I, for
true.
instance, would just like to take this moment to confirm that I do not actually hunger for plasma.
Totally made that my ringtone, though. Love it. Now, I just need to get you a copy of Defying Gravity, and then you can do like a song version, and then I can have that for actual ringtone. So I can have the Hunger for Plasma as my notifications, and then I can have the Defying Gravity as the ringer, and that would be perfect.
Yeah.
That would be brilliant. So,
I
I can defy gravity. I'm defying gravity.
hunger for your plasma.
Okay.
Every time I go to karaoke, that is sung at least twice.
Oh God, it's a requirement, really.
Oh yeah. It's like everyone wants to sing that song.
God. So, all right. Well, hey, that's our show. Thanks so much for tuning in, and please tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.